Hello everybody, Alex here. We're going to talk about who is Metatron. Okay, I've been looking at some YouTube videos and I saw a bunch of things about artificial intelligence. And they're using the word Metatron because the angel Metatron of the Talmud is known as the recorder. That's one of his archetypes or descriptions as a being. The recorder, so if AI is recording and listening and growing in intelligence and reason with its own abilities. It's recording, and they're calling it Metatron as a data collection type of artificial intelligence. This name pops up a lot. So I decided to read about it, but it seems like there are so many different definitions at the end of studying this for about an hour. He's anybody and everybody. You could tie him to many things, but there are some principal things. Let's show you. This is from wikipedia.org. Uh, Metatron is Hebrew. It's derived from the Latin metator, one who metes out or marks off a place, a divider and fixer of boundaries, a measurer, although several other suggestions exist, or Metatron as an archangel in Judaism, and known in Judaism as the recording angel or the chancellor of heaven, which makes Adramelech his infernal counterpart. The name Metatron is not mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, nor is it mentioned in the early Enoch literature. How the name originated is a matter of debate, although Metatron is mentioned in a few brief passages in the Talmud. He appears primarily in mystical Kabbalistic texts within the rabbinic literature. In that tradition, he is the highest of the angels and serves as the celestial scribe or recording angel. According to Jewish Apocrypha, Metatron is the name Enoch received after his transformation into an angel. Let's see. The book of Genesis, chapter 5, verse 24, is often cited as evidence of Enoch's bodily ascension into heaven. Quote, "And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him." And that's all it says. Number one, Enoch, or Enoch, or Enoch, as people say. Book of Parables presents two figures, the Son of Man and Enoch. At first, these two characters seem to be separate entities. Enoch views the Son of Man enthroned in heaven. Later, however, they prove to be one and the same. Many scholars believe that the final chapters in the Book of Parables are a later addition. Others think they are not, and that the Son of Man is Enoch's heavenly double, similar to the prayer of Joseph, where Jacob is depicted as an angel. The Book of Daniel displays two similar characters of the Ancient of Days and the one like a man. Parts of the text in Daniel are Aramaic and may have been changed in translation. The Septuagint reads that the Son of Man came as the Ancient of Days. The identification of Metatron with Enoch is not explicitly made in the Talmud, although it does reference a prince of the world who was young but now is old. However, some of the earliest Kabbalists assumed the connection. There also seems to be two Metatrons, one spelled with 6 letters in Hebrew and one spelled with 7. The former may be the transformed Enoch, prince of the Countenance, within the divine palace, and the latter the primordial Metatron, an emanation of the cause of causes, specifically the 10th and last emanation, identified with earthly divine presence. Furthermore, the Merkabah text Re Uyot Yehezkel identifies the Ancient of Days from the book of Daniel as Metatron. All right, let's go to another source. This is from pantheon.org by PhD Ilil Arbel. This is from pantheon.org. Metatron. The myths of Metatron are extremely complicated, and at least two separate versions exist. The first version states he came into being when God created the world and immediately assumed his many responsibilities. The second claims that he was first a human named Enoch, a pious good man who had ascended to heaven a few times, and eventually was transformed into a fiery angel. Some later books adopt the first version, some the second. And in other literature, both are combined. There are even two versions of the name Metatron, one spelled with 7 letters, the other with 6, lacking the Hebrew letter Yod. The Kabbalists explain that the 6-letter name represents the Enoch-related Metatron, while the 7-letter name refers to the primordial Metatron. We read that in Wiki. Let's see what else we have here. This is from gotquestions.org. Metatron. Who or what is Metatron? Answer: Metatron is a mythical angel mentioned in some Jewish writings. One version of the myth says that Metatron was created by God as a high-level angel with many responsibilities. A second myth claims that Metatron was originally a human named Enoch, a man who ascended to heaven a few times and was eventually transformed into a powerful angel. According to the legend, Metatron is part of a select group of angels that is permitted to look upon God's countenance, an honor most angels, like the seraphim, do not share. As in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 2, Metatron is sometimes referred to as the Prince of the Countenance. Metatron is presented as having immense power and wisdom. According to mythology, Metatron is second only to God himself in glory, wisdom, and strength. All the other angels must obey him. Among his heavenly tasks are to act out as God's scribe and to be an advocate or heavenly priest for the nation of Israel. One legend says Metatron was the angel that led Israel through the wilderness. It is important to state that Metatron is never mentioned in the Bible. He is mentioned 3 times in the Babylonian Talmud, in some mystical texts from the Middle Ages, and some occult books. There is no reason to believe that Metatron exists. In fact, some of the legends concerning Metatron are decidedly unbiblical. There's only one mediator between God and men, and that is not an angel. It is the man Christ Jesus. That's from 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 5. The Bible says that such myths and legends are unprofitable, having nothing to do with godless myths and old wives' tales. Rather, train yourself to be godly. Well, let's see. If it is the Talmud, that's the Kabbalistic mystery school book of Judaism, and that's where he's mentioned 3 times. Interesting to know that origin. Now let's look at a website called Metatronic-life.com. Metatron, angel of divine presence. Archangelic energies are too vast to comprehend with our minds. It is in our hearts that we come to understand the qualities of this being and feel this angel of presence, very present and real in our lives, as his work bridges us more deeply into the real knowing of ourselves. Metatron has been described as the bridge between heaven and earth, as ruler of the ancient map of consciousness known as the Tree of Life. He ushers in life force from higher dimensions, stepping them down into the worlds of matter while also guiding us on our return journey to wholeness or paradise. If you've noticed the shapes and forms at the heart of this website, you won't be surprised to know that Metatron also has been widely seen as being who gifts us with the fundamental forms of the sacred geometry, whose forms that lie as energetic templates beneath all life. If you look over here, folks, the Seal of Solomon or Star of Remphan, Star of Israel, if you connect the 6 dots with the circular patterns from the Tree of Life, you get a cube in the middle, and you can also come up with any other geometric shape that you can think of in the patterns of the Tree of Life. In Metatronic healing, we harness the palpable, tangible energies of Metatron's love frequencies to recalibrate and transform the multiple levels of human life, from those nebulous areas of the mind and soul right down to the DNA of cellular life. Their divine source is well described as the meeting point between the quantum mechanic and the mystic, but the real presence of Metatron is a constant and growing support to all who engage with these awesome dynamic frequencies of wisdom and love. Now reading from thoughtco.com. Metatron means either one who guards or one serves behind God's throne. Other spellings include Metatron, Megatron, Metatron, Metraton. Archangel Metatron is known as the Angel of Life. He guards the Tree of Life and writes down the good deeds people do on earth, as well as what happens in heaven. In the Book of Life, also known as the Akashic Records, Metatron is traditionally considered to be the spiritual brother of Archangel Sandalphon, who were both humans on earth before ascending to heaven as angels. Metatron is said to have lived as the prophet Enoch, and Sandalphon as the prophet Elijah. People sometimes ask for Metatron's help to discover their personal spiritual power and learn how to use it to bring glory to God and make the world a better place. Symbols. In art, Metatron is often depicted guarding the tree of life. His energy colors, as you can see in my thumbnails for this video, are green, pink, or blue. The Zohar, the holy book of the mystical branch of Judaism called Kabbalah, describes Metatron as the king of angels and says that he rules over the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The Zohar also mentions that the prophet Enoch has turned into Archangel Metatron in heaven. In the Torah and the Bible, the prophet Enoch lives an extraordinarily long life and then is taken up into heaven without dying, as most humans do. All of Enoch's days were 365 years. Enoch walked with God and was no more, because God had taken him in Genesis chapter 5. Zohar reveals that God decided to allow Enoch to continue his earthly ministry forever in heaven, describing in Zohar, Bereshit, that on earth Enoch was working on a book that contained the inner secrets of wisdom, and then was taken from this earth to become a heavenly angel. All the supernal secrets were delivered into his hands, and he in turn delivered them to those who merited them. Thus he performed the mission that the Holy One, blessed be he, assigned to him. 1,000 keys were delivered into his hands, and he takes 100 blessings every day and creates unifications for his master. The Holy One, blessed be he, took him from this world so that he would serve him alone. The text from Genesis 5 refers to this when it reads, "And he was not, for Elohim, God, took him." Elohim is a plural word, by the way. All words in the Hebrew that end with im are plural, just like words that end with s in English are mostly plural. The Talmud mentions in Hagigah 15a that God allowed Metatron to sit down in his presence, which is unusual because others stood up in God's presence to express their reverence for him, because Metatron is constantly writing. Metatron, to whom was given permission to sit down and write the merits of Israel. So, let's see, what have we learned about Metatron? Too many stories, very confusing. He's the scribe of God, sitting behind God, allowed to sit behind the throne in God's presence because he's constantly writing. He's Enoch, and he works with another angel, Sandalphon, who is Elijah. His only well-known descriptions of his power come from the Babylonian Kabbalah record of mystery school Judaism. I haven't figured this out. I didn't get a clear definition. It's all over the place, you know. So I'll just leave it at that. That's what I found. Thank you for coming to Plain Mundane Show. Please hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. I'm out.